Sure. Here's a long, interesting story written in simple English, perfect for your English podcast. It's about choices, kindness, and destiny, and it can fill around 5 to 7 minutes of spoken audio depending on your reading speed. Headphone title: The Stranger on the Bridge. It was a cold evening in November. The wind blew softly across the old stone bridge, where a young man named Daniel stood, staring at the river below. He had lost his job 2 months ago, and since then, everything in his life had gone wrong. His rent was due, his friends had stopped calling, and his hope was slowly fading away. As Daniel leaned against the bridge rail, he thought, maybe it's easier to just give up. The city lights in the distance blurred through his tears. Just then, he heard footsteps behind him. A voice said, "Beautiful night, isn't it?" Daniel turned around and saw an old man wearing a long brown coat and a warm smile. His eyes were kind but sharp, as if they could see through Daniel's pain. "Not really," Daniel replied quietly. "It's just another cold night." The old man chuckled softly. "Ah, but even cold nights have stories to tell. You just have to listen." Daniel frowned. "Stories? I've had enough of stories. My life is already a mess." The old man walked closer. "Then let me tell you one more." Without waiting for an answer, he began. Many years ago, there was a young sailor who loved the sea more than anything. But one day, a great storm destroyed his ship, and he lost everything: his job, his money, and even his friends. He thought his life was over. One night, he stood by the same river, on this very bridge. Daniel's eyes widened. "This bridge?" The old man nodded. "Yes, and just when he was about to jump, a stranger appeared and offered him a loaf of bread and a small job in his workshop. The sailor accepted, thinking it was nothing. But that small act of kindness changed everything. Years later, he became a successful shipbuilder and helped hundreds of people find work. All because someone cared enough to stop and talk to him." Daniel looked down, silent. "And what happened to the stranger who helped him?" The old man smiled. "No one knows. Some say he just disappeared, like the wind." Daniel took a deep breath. "That's a nice story, but life isn't that simple." "True," said the old man. "But it's also true that you never know how close you are to a new beginning." The two stood in silence for a moment. The city lights reflected off the river, and the sound of water filled the air. Finally, Daniel turned around, but the old man was gone. No footsteps, no shadow, nothing. Only a small brown coin lay where he had stood, shining faintly under the streetlight. Daniel picked it up. The words engraved on it read, "Every ending hides a beginning." He held the coin tightly in his hand and smiled for the first time in months. The next morning, he went out and looked for work again. It wasn't easy, but he never gave up. And years later, when he became a successful engineer, he often stood on that same bridge, offering help to anyone who seemed lost. Sometimes, late at night, he still wondered who that old man really was.